Hey everybody, it's Colton Stombaugh from DeanHouston. I'm super proud to be a part of the first release of Inspire, where we're providing fearless B2B marketing and sales insights for you, 1 week at a time. Today we'll be talking to Ed Kammerer, Director of Marketing and Global Product Strategy for OPW Retail Fueling, and Dale Dean, CEO at DeanHouston. We're filming this episode beginning of April 2020, and it goes without saying that we're facing some unprecedented times as a society, but also as professionals. This particular episode, we'll be talking about the concept of virtual trade shows and how to take that one-to-one customer experience and kind of bring that to a new COVID-19 friendly medium. Through this episode, you'll see a lot of great back and forth between Dale and Ed as they talk about the process of where the original idea to create this virtual trade show came from, as well as what it looked like to get everything prepared, filmed, shot, how to leverage their existing assets, a ton of really great actionable insights for you, as well as some ideas and things to think about if a virtual trade show might be part of your new short-term marketing strategy. So thanks so much for tuning in. We look forward to following up with Ed here for episode 2 of Inspire. And if you like what you see and get value out of it, by all means, please follow us, subscribe, whatever platform you're using to consume this content. We look forward to seeing more of you. So with all that said, enjoy the first episode, and here we go. All right, so hey everybody, welcome to the first official recording of the Inspire podcast, where we're providing fearless B2B sales and marketing insights, trying to create value for our entire audience. Today I'm here with Ed Kammerer from OPW and Dale Dean, DeanHouston. Ed, why don't you take a second and let us know a little bit about who you are and your background.
Sure, thanks Colton. Hey, first of all, I appreciate you guys inviting me. So my name's Ed Kammerer. I'm the Director of Marketing and Global Product Strategy for OPW Fueling Components. Basically, we manufacture and make all the equipment that's at a gas station. So I oversee not only the product development and the engineering, but the other big piece of my job is I also oversee all the marketing for our company.
Yeah, and I'm Dale Dean, and I'm the president and founder of DeanHouston, which is a B2B technical products marketing firm. And Ed's company, OPW, has been a client of ours for 31 years, and we're very proud of that. I've worked with Ed for at least 20 of those years, and we've worked on a lot of great marketing things together to help position OPW as the world's leading manufacturer of gas station equipment. And I will say, Ed, we've come up with a lot of great ideas over the years, man, but this is one of your best right here.
Yeah, and we have. Yeah.
It was just so funny because I called Ed one night and I was going to call him and talk to him about the an idea to do a virtual trade show. But before I could even get it out of my words, Ed said, hey man, I'm glad you called me because I want to talk to you about, we got to do it. We need to create like a virtual trade show. It was like, we are so connected on the same page. It was awesome, And, so the idea was like all these trade shows got canceled, because of this COVID-19 thing. So that's kind of what started this conversation today, Colton. And Ed, I got to tell you, Ed, you are one of the most creative guys that we work with. And it's just funny that you had come up with that idea, simultaneously at the same time. So
hey, great minds think alike, huh, Dale?
I agree, man. But you were one step ahead of me on that one, man. But I think it was a great idea, because when Ed said, I don't know how we're going to do this, but what I'm thinking is, how do we bring the trade show, to our clients, and all these industry trade shows are canceled, and it's like it was really a big deal for us because we do so many of them. What do you think, Ed? I mean, what do we do yearly? We do like 50 of these shows a year, don't we?
Oh yeah, we have a big one in the fall, but really why this kind of impacted us or why we're concerned was the spring is like the season for the regional shows. These are 3 to 4 state regional shows, and they're actually almost more beneficial than the big show. I think they're more intimate, and so that's when I really got concerned when we started having to cancel these regional shows because they're really a good. I think they're the the backbone of all the shows that we do throughout the whole year.
Yeah, and one of the things that kind of makes this work for us guys is, DeanHouston, not only are we, a B2B technical marketing firm, but part of that is, we have a complete trade show arm, to support that, so, our warehouse where we store all the OPW products and actually their whole booth, our whole trade show team is there. It's just down the street from OPW's facility and not too far from where Ed lives. So, we had that means to be able to do it. We could set up the entire trade show, on a trade show floor. We have a space where we do this in the warehouse anyway, where, clients can come through, walk through their booth before we actually, tear it down. And that way Ed could walk through, and he does this traditionally anyway. He would come through and he'd walk through the trade show to make sure it was exactly the way he wanted it before we packed it up and shipped it out. So that kind of made it kind of workable for us too, Ed. I think that was a key component.
Well, and I also want to thank you for giving me credit for coming up with the idea. I told the guys, I said, now don't let Dale take credit for this thing. It was my idea. Now, he had an idea, but I had it before he did. But I will say, when I first started thinking about, this virtual trade show and how to do it, the way I envisioned it at the beginning was, we do a 3D model of what the show floor is going to look like, just so we know where to position the products on the show floor. And, my initial vision was to kind of do it almost like a virtual reality type thing, where you would go on your computer and just move your mouse around and kind of go through each of the images, each of the product displays, kind of a 3D rendering as an animation. You could look at them and then maybe click something, and we would list like some features and benefits, or maybe you could click over one of the animations or videos or one of the other presentations that we had previously done on that specific product. So that's kind of what I was thinking. But then, when Dale and I started talking, and him and Andy had come up with the idea of, hey, we can set the whole show up in Exhibit Logistics warehouse and just walk through it there. And I was like, that's even a better idea, because it's easier and probably a lot less expensive for me. So we don't have to create animations and 3D models and kind of do that.
Well, Ed, we've got, we really already have all those animations built. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you just think about all the things we were going to have at the trade show, so we had all the animations built. We have all the literature ready to go. I mean, the show was only like 2 weeks when this all came down, so everything was ready to go. As a matter of fact, the booth was really kind of packed and sitting on the dock. So we already had it prepped. We were ready to go, So from that standpoint, when Ed, when he started talking about this concept, and was explaining to me like what he was thinking, that's when it just said like, well, what if we do this? Because we've got the videographers on staff, and if we just had Ed there and the videographer there, those guys could. I mean, if you look at the videos and stuff, they're 20 feet apart, because we can zoom in on the video, and we got Ed mic'd up, so Ed could walk through the booth. The whole booth is set up, and we just kind of walk through the whole thing. And Ed usually does this anyway. Prior to every show, anyway, Ed. I mean, you typically do these walkthroughs like a couple hours before the show, so we put on our social media feeds anyway. So it was kind of a natural for you.
Well, yes and no. I mean, my job the last several years has just been to decide what products are going where. I was a sales guy for a number of years for OPW. So I was used to selling the product. Now I'm in charge of developing the products. So once they're developed and launched, I'm not one of the guys that is out selling it every day. And even during the trade shows, I'm not really talking, I'm not really selling the product to the customers. So it was one of my challenges to kind of go back and put my sales hat on and remember all the features and benefits from all of these products to go through. So that was probably the biggest challenge for me, getting ready for this thing and making sure that, I knew exactly what I wanted to talk about or what I needed to talk about, because I don't do it on a daily basis anymore. I'm not selling these products every day like our sales guys.
Well, to that point, though, one of the things that Ed did, Colton, was, he put the time in. I mean, he put the time in to prepare ahead. He wrote up actually each product. He did a script, and then we had a teleprompter. All right, so it's right beside the camera. And so Ed, actually, it was his script. He went through everything, and then we had this teleprompter, and he was able to. You can't tell it when you watch the video. I mean, it just comes across natural because Ed wrote the script the same way that he talks, so it comes across really natural, Ed. And I mean, there were a couple challenges getting the teleprompter to work, wanted it to get the angles right and all, but it worked out pretty darn good, so your prep on that was fantastic. And then he just kind of like did the intro on it,
No, I'd say it sounds like, all this had to come together really, really quickly.
It did. Within a matter of days, we had this thing put together.
Oh yeah.
But like thinking about that, and this is, you two were on site, I was out in Chicago, you all were in Cincinnati, but I've heard a lot about it. But hearing this story in real time, like there's this huge insight that I'm getting that one of the first things that you guys did was really look at your existing assets, and what do you already have that you can repurpose for this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how much did that help going in? I mean, Dale, you mentioned there were a bunch of animations ready, a bunch of literature. I mean, did that kind of become the start of the framework a little bit, is really doing an inventory of what we can currently leverage?
Well, we kind of came to, I'll let Ed talk about like on the assets about what he needed to have there. But, where we really started, Colton, was just with the big idea. Like we just started with the big idea of, hey, we want to bring the trade show to the customer. All right. And then we started looking at all of our options. And that's where we said, like, well, hell, we got the booth where we can set the thing up. We've got all the animations and the videos and the literature ready to go to the show.
Yeah.
So I think, Ed, from there, we kind of put all that together then and came up with the concept that we ultimately ended with,
Oh yeah, and the other thing, you said this thing was sitting on the dock ready to ship out anyway. Yeah. So it's not like Andy had to go through and start pulling different displays off his racks. We knew exactly how the show was going to be set up. We had approved the floor plan, the layout, everything was sitting in crates. So it was just, hey, we have the booth. Why not set it up and just film the thing in the booth? And it turned out to be a great idea. I'm a little disappointed you gave away my secret. I wanted everybody. I was just doing all those presentations off the top of my head, like I remembered all that stuff.
Yeah, sorry about that, man.
That's
the magic
gave me away.
That's okay, man. A big part of this is to give everybody watching some insights about what's really happening behind the scenes.
Well, let me add a couple more things to this though too, because number one is it kind of developed as it went along. Hey, now we're going to build this website. Now, let's make sure that we break this down into chapters so somebody doesn't have to come in and watch the whole thing to get to the things they want. These are things that Ed and I just kind of developed on the what's that?
So that was my idea too.
That's an idea. Yeah, that's true. So we developed this on the fly. My job in this was just to tell him, say, yes, sir, we can do that. So that's really what I was doing. But I will say that so he went through and he went over every existing and new product display. We had the demos there. He demoed it. He talked about the product features. But part of the part of then, okay, now we got all that done. And we've edited all the videos and all that. The real idea then was like, hey, we can generate leads from this. We can monitor this now very closely. We can nurture this with follow-up materials. We can convert everything to a sale or to pass along to our distributors. We can measure like how we're doing on this thing. And so it's a fully synchronized program. The part we're talking about now is the cool part about setting it all up and like how it all came together so quickly and all that kind of stuff. And then how awesome it is and how you access it. But I think, Ed, the cool part about this too is like it's a fully synchronized program now that gives people access, and we can actually monitor even better than a trade show. Two things happen. Number one is, there's like 5 or 6 shows that got canceled. Some of those shows we were just kind of a 10 by 10 booth at. Now we have a 40 by 70 booth there, for even these small shows. And we have all these products there that we probably couldn't have had at those regular shows.
Yeah.
But we've synchronized everything together too, So that's another component part of this that we kind of came up with as we were developing it as well.
Yeah,
and I'll take that one step further. We created. I mean, we had a lot of content already. A lot of the animations and the PowerPoint presentations. And, the things we do when we have a product launch, they're all part of the package that Dale and I, DeanHouston, OPW, we have a whole checklist of marketing collateral that we want to put together when we launch a new product. So we had all the, all of that collateral. Now it was just, tagging it as part of the trade show experience also. And so we've also created even more content by having these brief product demonstrations that I did in front of with the products on the show floor. And, what's springboarding from this now was one of the other things that we were really disappointed about with the spring was not only is it our trade show season, but it's also the time when we host our distributor seminars. So we do two. We try and do one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast. We invite our distributors in, and then we have our product managers give presentations. And, it's really a good time for us to showcase our new products. And it's a good time for distributors who have people that are new to the industry. They come and, we teach them about the industry and about all the OPW, the great OPW products. But unfortunately, those got canceled as well. And that's another huge, impact for us, because that's really, those seminars, probably trade shows and those distributor seminars are probably the two biggest ways that we are able to present our stuff, our equipment to our customers, to our distributors and our customers. I think Dale and I started talking about as we're filming, we're doing the trade show. We're like, hey, we can use a lot of this same content because we want to do a virtual distributor seminar as well. So a lot of things that we did on the for the distributor or for the virtual trade show, we're now going to utilize that content for our virtual distributor seminar. Again, we've created a whole new set of content that we can use, like I said, not only for this trade show, but for some of our other programs that we're missing out on this spring as well.
And I'm not sure whose idea that was. Let's say it was.
That was your idea.
Well, either way, especially in B2B, though, it's kind of like this in all forms of marketing now. Event-driven and experience-driven communications usually are the most effective, right? You've got people engaged, you've got everybody in one place. But it sounds like what the two of you almost did was take that tradition of being so event-based and reverse engineering that now for a new digital reality, kind of out of necessity.
I do want to add, though, Colton, and Ed, you can correct me on this, but I think you'll agree with me as well, is that, this is an opportunistic thing that we're doing right now to continue to bring the trade show to our customers and to our distributors, like even with the distributor seminar, because of the circumstance. Okay. One thing we're learning from this, though, is that we can carry this over after this period ends. And the way I would say that is for people that can't make the trade shows, because I don't think this is a replacement for the one-on-one interaction of human interaction. Okay. I think the one-on-one selling, face-to-face, and so forth, is still more powerful. But this is a good alternative. And what it's also going to add is, as we move forward, we can add this as a component because we have the structure built now. Every trade show we go to, we can do these walkthroughs. We may have other people. We may have product managers. We may have engineers. We have other experts, that are subject matter experts, that they can talk about these products. But we can use this platform going forward for people that can't make the show. They can get this trade show experience. Ed, I think you would agree with that, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And your other point also, where some of those shows this spring, it was a very small booth that we had to deal with. So we could only show like one or two products. Now we were able to show that whole product breadth that we wouldn't at some of those smaller shows. And you're right, because not everybody can attend the trade shows. So we're reaching a broader, audience of more of our customers and more of our distributors. When I first thought about this idea, and then as we were doing it, I'm like, this is going to be great because everyone's in the same position we are. They either have travel restrictions or, they're sheltered at home. So what are they doing? They're sitting in front of their computers and freaking, binge watching Netflix or Amazon Prime. I'm like, well, now they can binge watch, stuff that's relevant to their job. And, and we even mentioned it, I think in my opening or my closing, I said, hey, OPW, we have a whole YouTube channel, OPW University, of all this content. So if you like what you saw here, man, go to our channel and, binge watch all these great, videos and these product videos and training videos that we've done over the years. and we have them on OPW University. You know, and that's what I said. I'm like, man, everyone's going to be sitting home in front of their computer. You know, what are they going to do? So I'm like, hey, this is perfect. You know, now people can come to a trade show, sit in their living room, you know, in front of their computer screen.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think the thing turned out. And now, you know, the next step of this, though, Colton, and this will have to be for, I know we're running long here, but, you know, for another day, but I think we should do a follow-up on this, because now that we're going to promote, Ed, is this going out like Monday or something? Are we going to launch it on Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, it's launched on Monday. And, you know, one of the things we'll be able to do, it'd be just like going to a trade show, right? You have to have a badge, you know, to enter the trade show. So before someone can come and actually see the show, you know, we just for some basic information. You know, we want their name and their email address. And actually, we're going to have it, you know, kind of make fun, you know, have fun with it. Like they're filling out a badge that they would wear at the trade show. But what we'll be able to do is actually see how many people are into this thing and viewing the content. We can, you know, we kind of know how many people, you know, come through our booth at an average regional trade show. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see if the numbers are higher. If they are, that's great, because that means, hey, we did reach more people this way than we would have if we had set this thing up and people would have actually come to the show. I mean, that's the goal. And the good thing is we'll be able to measure that. We'll know how many people actually took the time to watch this thing.
Well, I'll add to that too, Ed, is that we'll also see where they're spending their time, you know, so we'll be able to see like the things that are truly interesting to them, and we'll be able to follow up with more content and things that can help them evaluate or understand those products better too, or associated products that complement that, you know, so I think there's a lot to be gained. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, Dale, because I never thought about that, because I'm sure we will be able to track that because we have it broken up into chapters. If we'll be able to track, you know, how many people went to, you know, the 14E dripless nozzle, how many people went to the electrotype. So that's great feedback for us. We'll know exactly what products and topics people are interested in, you know, based on where they're going on the trade show.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now we've got like 10 videos on this thing. Like, so we did a kind of walkthrough of 10 products. So, you know, and we, well, one of those is the introduction, Ed, which everybody should watch because it's really good, you know, where he sets up the whole thing. I think it was really good. And so, you know, so there's really like 8, I think there's 8 product videos on here though, aren't there, Ed? Something like that. Like these are really the new products, the innovative new things that OPW is doing. And you know that people are going to want to learn about, and they're going to miss it if they hadn't gone to this trade show. So now they don't have to miss it, you know. So it's all right there for them. But I think we should do a follow up, Ed. You know, in the coming weeks or so, and like say like, hey, this is what's happened, guys. And then we can give people insight into like how this thing's working, you know, and we'll also kind of know like what we need to tweak on it, and can talk a little bit about that too, if you're open for that.
Absolutely.
And as the resident digital data geek on the call, I'll definitely, well, I won't have a choice but to tune into it, but I think that's going to be a really interesting one to hear about the results and how you were able to see what customers were really into and almost use that as a business intelligence tool. I think there's a ton of potential there. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's interesting, like, you know, at the trade show, you know, there's a lot of relationship building and reinforcement that goes on at these trade shows. And a lot of times people will come into the booth, you know, they'll be talking about it. We always take them over. We talk about a product, you know, we talk about what's new and all this kind of stuff. And then you know, we know who they are. You know, we don't capture their information, and we don't, you know, a lot of times we don't follow up with those guys then, you know, the way that we probably should, because they're people that we know. Anyway, they walk out of the booth. Okay. The same thing's going to happen here, but now we can actually be a little more, you know, proactive afterwards and say, oh, you know, Jerry came here and checked out this thing. I'm going to send him the next, the stuff that supports this thing, you know? So I think it's going to have some real positives like that as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, well, hey, this has been a good conversation. I'm really, really excited to see, you know, how it performs and how many people come and engage with it. And then Ed, I mean, you know, I'm anxious too to get the distributor seminar, you know, a virtual distributor seminar one too, man.
Yeah. The only thing, the next thing I've been thinking about, and what I'd like to do to add on to this and the distributor seminar as well, When I first heard the show was going to be canceled, I mean, obviously I was disappointed. I know, because I like people, I want people to come to the show and see our products, but Dale hit on it. Our industry is very relationship driven. It's a small niche industry. And really most of our decisions, or our customers' decisions, I think, are based on relationships. It's all about building and maintaining relationships. And that's kind of the one piece that we miss of not being able to get together and, talking to people one-on-one. Because to be honest, it's great when people come on the show floor and we talk to them, we show them these products, but really the benefit of these shows is having everybody together. And then when the show's over, being able to go out to dinner with them, have a couple beers, and that's really where, you build those relationships and you can really talk about these products. So the next thing I'd like to look at adding is, a virtual cocktail hour. You see Zoom and a lot of people doing that now. So maybe we invite the people that, that sign up and come to the show. Maybe we invite them into a virtual cocktail hour, during cocktail hour times, and we all kick back with the beer and just talk about, what they saw at the show and kind of get that social experience as well. You hear that all the time now. Those are pretty popular.
They're very popular. As a matter of fact, just 2 nights ago, one of the people at DeanHouston organized a DeanHouston happy hour. It was supposed to go from 7 to 8. Okay, there were like 50 people on this happy hour. It was awesome, man, and everybody was on and off. It was so much fun, and I got off after like an hour and a half. It was supposed to only go an hour. Okay, an hour and a half later, I jumped off. And an hour and a half after that, Darren's sending me a message saying, "Hey, we're still on this thing." And so, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was just it's hard to really describe it, man. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I want that same experience.
Once again, Colton, Ed's on the wrong side here. He needs to be in the creative agency side. Man. All these damn ideas.
No kidding. And I think I'm going to reach out to Instacart to see if we can get sponsored by a beer delivery service for this one.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
We just shot him some good promo there. That's great.
Yeah, exactly, man. This is the Ed Kammerer show, man. This is good. But Ed, really, man, I tell you, I appreciate our partnership, man, because you're like one of the most creative guys that we work with. This whole idea, was spawned from that, and I think it's really grown into something really nicely here in like 5 days. I mean, literally, we put this thing together in like 5 days, and it's kicked butt. So, but I appreciate the great ideas, and also not only the great ideas, the fact that you present the idea, but then we follow through with it, man, and we put this thing together. It's just it's fantastic. So,
well, and the tribute to you and your team is you guys are so intimate with our business already, and our products and our industry. That's why it was able to happen like that. We said it, and we did it, and it was done.
We mobilized, man. We got her done, man. It was great.
Yeah. So, and again, it goes to the intimate knowledge that you and your team have with our industry and our customers and our products. We probably could have put a DeanHouston guy in front of there. He probably could have talked about those products just as well as me. I know Andy.
Not as eloquently, but as eloquently.
As long as we had a teleprompter. But
we gotta have a teleprompter.
Now, I'm going to say we only use a teleprompter about half of those. Some of those were. I mean, I didn't have time to prepare. We set the camera up. I'm like, oh, that's right. I got to talk about this thing. And like the red light comes on. It's like, all right, I'm going to do this in one take. And even the camera he's like, wow, you did that in one take. I'm like, you're damn right I did.
Hey, let me tell you another thing though too. We've been doing these for a long time. No, actually, not necessarily the virtual thing, but Ed doing these kind of videos and talking. But this is the first time ever we've ever used a teleprompter. And as a matter of fact, it was so funny. So when Ed shows up that morning, he has a teleprompter because we had arranged to get this here from one of the other OPW training guys. Not a single one of us even knew how this thing worked. Ed had done a little bit of research on it ahead of time, and so we finally got that thing working. And but it worked okay for what we were doing. But it's certainly Ed prepared everything otherwise, but it was kind of fun. So
we had a good time with it. I mean, it's like I said, it's kind of creepy and lonely walking through that trade show booth by myself and just talking to Andy Spidell. But I think I'm happy with the content. The video will be decent, and hopefully everyone else will be happy with it too.
Yeah, I loved it, man. So
Really, really excited to see that. I mean, Ed, if anybody in the audience kind of wants to see a little bit of this, you mentioned, kind of having a sign-up process. I know you've got some other companies kind of in your, family organizations, anything like that.
Yeah.
Can they reach out to you to maybe ask for access?
So actually, on Monday, what we'll do is we're going to kind of advertise this thing in a bunch of different avenues. We're actually running some ads in some of our online newsletters for the trade publications. Hey, OPW Virtual Trade Show, click here or go here. We're sending out a bulletin to all of our, we have a distributor list of all our distributors. So we'll send an email blast, saying, hey, we put this together, come check it out. We're doing a press release. So we're trying to get the word out there. And then I'm sure we'll have something on the website, Dale, where they can find, they'll see it like a scroll ad or something on the OPW website. But the whole thing is housed on, it'll be on OPWglobal.com. So it's www.opwglobal.com. They'll be able to find it there if they're not actually seeing or getting a digital invite, or it'll be also posted to social media outlets as well. Mm-hmm. So hopefully people will see it, and we want people to know what we did. The other thing I'm kind of proud of, I think we're the first manufacturer in our industry to come out with this. There's a lot of people that exhibit, especially at like that Midwest, the Impact show that we're missing. There's a lot of exhibitors there, and we're the first ones in the industry that have done that I've seen that have put something together like this. So hopefully the word spreads quickly.
At least on this caliber, anyway, Ed. I got to tell you, I can't imagine anybody being able to mobilize and get this thing out like what this one thing's going to be. It's going to be super, super slick. So, those are good points.
It's a bold move, Ed, and there's no doubt that it'll probably pay off for you. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It was a bold move, Colton. We'll see how it plays out, brother.
But no question. I think, really excited for the follow-up here, and to hear more about what it looks like once the metaphorical doors open. But I know you guys have been giving each other a lot of credit. I'll end it by saying this, Ed. I have to go write a title for this, and we're definitely going to be talking about a bingeable brand experience.
There you go.
Question. That doesn't happen without you, man. So.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot, Ed, for joining us on the show, and Colton for hosting this thing, man.
Thanks for the invite.
Thanks for you two for making it real easy on me too.
That's what we want to do. The only guy, I try and make it easy on you, but there's some other people in your organization I don't want to make things easy for. I'm not going to mention any names.
We'll make sure they get the message. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think he's got his mic. Like muted right now. So, but all right, man. So we'll try to get Ed back on here in the next week or so once this thing launches, and see what the reception is to it out there.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks. I'd love to come back anytime.
All right. Cool, man.
Thanks, guys.
Dale, have a great one, guys.
Thanks.
See you. Bye, everybody.